So what's going on, guys? DIY Dan here again, and this is another episode of Day to Day Around the House. In this video, I'm going to go over one of the most common problems that will decrease the performance of your dryer and increase the chance of a fire hazard. Now I'm going to show you what this problem is on my Maytag Bravo dryer, but this same problem will apply to any dryer of any make and model. So my wife noticed that the dryer was not performing as well as it used to, and that the lint screen was not going down in the dryer all the way. So I'm going to show you how I corrected that screen not going down in all the way. And once I realized how bad it was underneath that screen, I took the vent hose off that goes from your dryer to the wall and cleaned that out as well. Made sure it was clear in the wall and in the dryer itself. So let's get to it. So on one other quick little side note here, guys, is I know the new thing is the front loading washer and dryer. However, I have never wanted to have a front loading washing machine because I've heard a lot of things going wrong with those, water seals leaking, etc. However, one of the advantages of a front loader is they tend to hold more volume and capacity. But if you get a regular washer without an agitator, it should hold about the same capacity. Now, as far as the dryer goes, we were going to buy a front loader because we didn't want to have to bend over to put the clothes in the dryer. However, my wife had the awesome idea of just getting a regular dryer and putting it on the same stand as a front loader. And the only difference is the fact that the controls are up at the top instead of on the face of the dryer, which is not a problem because neither one of us have a problem reaching the controls. So obviously you'd want to check to make sure you have enough height where your dryer is located to do something like this, but I don't think a standard dryer is that much taller than a front loader anyways. And don't quote me on this, but if I remember correctly, because it was over 5 years ago, it saved us over $500 getting a regular washer and dryer compared to a front loader washer and dryer. So I just wanted to give you guys that little bit of info. Maybe it'll help you out. Now let's get to the problem at hand. So here's a quick video of how the screen is supposed to go in the dryer, flush on both sides, and here's what ours was doing. So I pulled the screen out and got a light in there and saw a bunch of crap underneath it. Then I realized that there's only 3 screws that held the cover that held the screen in place. So I removed those 3 screws with a Phillips screwdriver and revealed a whole bunch of lint, dirt, and hair that had gotten past the lint screen, which will restrict the air being able to leave the dryer and will definitely cause a lack in performance from your dryer. And the other thing you might not realize is a restricted exhaust on your dryer, on your ventilation tube, is the #1 cause of a fire in relationship to a dryer. So I was able to reach in with my hand and remove 95% of the lint, dirt, and crap that was underneath the screen. If I wouldn't have been able to do it, I would have grabbed one of my kids with smaller hands and made them do it. After that, I ended up getting a vacuum and put a long extension on it and used that to get the rest of it. There is a good view of all the crap that I pulled out from underneath that lint screen cover. Since I was so disgusted with how much crap was underneath that cover, I decided to go ahead and pull that cover off. So I removed the 2 wires that were attached to the sensor and took a picture of them so I could make sure I put them back in the same place. Once washing the cover off, I put it back into place and connected the 2 wires. All they did was push on because they were spade connectors. Once getting those on, I proceeded to line up the cover so I could put the 3 screws that held it in place back on. Now the 3 screws that were holding this cover in place on my dryer, you got to from the inside using a Phillips screwdriver. I did get a video of me putting it back on so you could kind of see how I removed it when I was taking it off, since I didn't get a good video of that. So when I was taking it off, I didn't see this bottom screw. So be careful that you're not missing a screw when you try and pull it off so you don't snap the cover. After I put the cover back on, I got to thinking and asked myself, why would that much material get past the screen in the first place? So I grabbed my screen and I looked at the seal that goes on the screen itself, and it was all pretty much intact. There was 2 parts at the top that seemed like they were missing the seal, but there was a plastic rail that those slid into, so I don't think that was my problem. So my only other thought is that we've had our daughters start doing laundry as a chore, and maybe they're just being too lazy to make sure it's pushed down all the way. So I emphasized to them how important it is to make sure it goes down all the way so they don't catch our house on fire, and we'll have to see what happens. Since it was so bad inside the dryer, I decided that I better check the ventilation hose between the dryer and the wall. So I pulled the dryer away from the wall so I could get behind there. Then using either your hand or a pair of pliers, all you have to do is squeeze the clamp and pull the hose off. And it's the same type of clamp on the dryer side as well as the wall. So once getting that hose off, I dumped it out onto the ground. Look at how much crap was clogging that hose. Usually the hose is the lowest spot in the ventilation from the dryer, so that's where a lot of that crap's going to get stuck. I used my camera on my phone to take a video going up into the wall to make sure that did not look like it was getting clogged as well. And then I also took a video going into the tube in the dryer itself, and I did have to reach in there and get some of that crap out as well. Once I got the hose and the dryer cleaned out, all that was left to do was hook the hose back up. At first I tried putting the clamp on the hose and then putting them both on at the same time. I found it easier to put the clamp over the tube on the dryer, put the hose on that tube, and then move the clamp over the hose. Maybe you'll have better luck doing it the other way. This just worked well for me. Once I got the clamp over, then I pushed it on with the hose to make sure it was on all the way. Same thing with the one on the wall. Then all that was left to do was push the dryer back against the wall. I had unplugged the dryer to get it out of the way, so I moved it back close enough to plug it in and then continued pushing the dryer back. Make sure you do not kink that hose by pushing the dryer too far back against the wall. So obviously you're going to have some turns in the hose. Just make sure you do not smush the hose by pushing it back too far. Because by kinking the hose, you can cause the same problem that we just eliminated by cleaning everything out. So because this was so bad, I think every 6 months, I'm going to pull the lint screen and take a phone with a flashlight and make sure that that is not getting clogged underneath that cover. And once a year, I'm going to pull that ventilation hose off and make sure it is clear as well. So just out of curiosity, I decided to look up how many fires were caused by washing machines and dryers over a year span. And according to the National Fire Department Association, close to 16,000 fires are caused every year, and 92% of those fires are caused by the dryer. So hope you guys enjoyed this video and it gave you some good information. If so, hit like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd really appreciate it. My channel has a wide variety of DIYs, all with the same concept. Save you guys money by doing it yourselves without wasting your time. Hope to see you next time. Have a good one. Later.